Hi everyone, I've just got back from seeing Marti Pellow at the AO Arena. Oh dear, oh dear. Now, I am not a wet fan. It's really not my cup of tea. I was there tonight as the designated driver for my darling wife and to keep her company and have a night out. It's always nice to have a babysitter and have a night out. Anyway, I have seen Marti Pellow a few times before. I've seen him at Glasgow Green years ago with Wet. A Friday night at Glasgow Green is always amusing, so I enjoyed that, even though I'm not a fan. Went to see Wet with him singing at the same arena. I think it was the MEN arena then, whatever it was called. And it was alright. My wife took me to see him, just him on his own, at the Lowry Theatre years ago. And it was excellent, just him singing and talking. What a voice, what a voice. Tonight, right, if you're a Wet and Marti Pellow fan, if I upset you here, tough. Tonight was awful. It really was. I was so bored. However, it was split into two halves of the concert, and at half time I went to the toilet, and some woman said, "I'm the biggest Wet and Marti fan, and I want to go home. I am bored shitless." And that was somebody we was walking up the steps in the arena with. I was just so bored. It really was. Now, it was with an orchestra. I'm going to talk about the orchestra first. What an absolute waste. It was about a 20-piece string orchestra. And it just made this dense background sound. It wasn't punching through. The only band I've ever seen, to my knowledge, with a live orchestra was Rush on the Clockwork Angels tour. And they only had a 7-piece string orchestra where it punched through, boom, embellishments, boom, boom. It was quite exciting and kinetic. This just went, so they played kind of meandering, like something from a film score. Then Marty started playing whatever song he was playing. And they're just in the background, and it made a really dense, impenetrable, sludgy sound. And we had good seats. We're in block 103, row E, so we're quite near the stage, and it was just a really horrible, turgid sound, and nothing seemed to break through. And the orchestra, to be honest, you could have had somebody there with keyboards, playing the strings on the keyboards, and save yourself 20 people's wages, transport and accommodation. So that's out of the way. A real missed opportunity. Probably the only time it worked, near the end, they played, and I had to look this up, I had no idea what song it was, a song called Dante's Prayer, which was Marty singing on his own, the orchestra. It was a ballad, and it worked really well. You know, swelling strings, quite dramatic, and it worked well. But the rest of the stuff, it was an all-string orchestra. There was no woodwind, no brass. So it was just like, in the background. There was no disrespect to the musicians. But Marty, oh dear, right. I'm going to upset some people now. I think, I'm not saying he was miming, but I think he had help in certain points with his voice. Was he lip syncing? I probably won't go that far. There were 3 people singing on stage, Marty and 2 backing singers. It sounded to me, and there was no other microphones for vocals on stage, and it sounded like there were far more people singing in parts. Also, some of the songs, I don't know. It just looked to me like he wasn't singing certain parts of songs. I think he was singing probably 99.9% of the stuff. At the beginning, it sounded like there was a bit of auto-tune on. I don't know. There probably wasn't. I've seen him before, and he's a great, fantastic. You know, the 3 times I've seen him, fantastic vocal performance. This, it just something odd about it. It really was. I'm not going to go as far to say he was lip syncing, but I think he was having some help. And a lot of singers have some help, but I don't know. As for his performance, he just did not engage with the audience. It was like sat in a wedding and a wedding singer on in the background, or that last night of a cruise guest entertainer and somebody gets on and sings with the orchestra. It was like that. It really did. And he was odd. He come on and says, I'm not going to talk so much tonight. I'm just going to sing all the songs I can. But he just didn't. He just seemed to be going through the motions. He come on in a three-piece suit, and he looked like a wedding singer, and he sounded like a wedding singer. And it was like a wedding singer's performance. It was really dull. If this musical performance was an item of clothing, it'd be a beige cardigan with football buttons. It was kind of So first off was I don't never own the album, but popped in, sold out. My wife said it was other songs as part of the album. That dragged. That really dragged. The second half started with some blues, lip service. That sounds dated. That sounds really... We want to sound like the Happy Mondays. Sweet Surrender. Then they played Ain't No Stopping Us Now, Only Freak by Chic. Why? Why? Are you that desperate for material? It was odd. It really was odd. With little help from my friends, my wife can't stand it. She says, come on, let's go. Let's beat the crowds. We really do. So I was absolutely bored senseless tonight. If you enjoyed it, brilliant. Good luck to you. I'm going to put a video on YouTube of one song I recorded. Just to prove a point, there's a woman sat behind me. Shut up. Don't, all I could hear is singing in my ear. Wishing I was lucky, wishing I was lucky. And then he come on with a kilt on. She goes, he's got a kilt on. She said it about 6 times. I know he's got a kilt on. I can see he's got a kilt on. How annoying was she? Just sing. I know people sometimes sing and sing along, but right in me, and she was just, you watch the video, you'll not hear Marti Pellow sing. The lady behind me, if you identify yourself, you're from Croston, because you were saying, I'm going to get British Rail to a Brian Ferry concert. British Rail, they've not been around for about 30 years. Yes, you can't sing. Probably a very nice person, but you can't sing. So there you go. I didn't pay for the concerts. I was the designated driver, as I seem to with these things. Nice to get out my wife, as I said, as always, but I jet washed the patio doors and the gutters this morning. I had far more fun doing that. That's all I'm going to say about tonight. Good night, everybody. If you went out, you had a great time. I was bored senseless. I thought it was a wasted opportunity. Obviously, a lot of expenses, orchestra, and it just sounded turgid, dull. He just seemed like he was going through the motions, and I think you're a little bit old to go for that. Little cheeky chappy from Glasgow. I think you're a bit old for that now, mate. As I said, he didn't really do that when I saw him twice with Wet, Wet, Wet. When I saw him on his own at the Lowry, he was excellent. He had a lot of gravitas. He had a lot of, a real lot of respect I got from him as an artist. I thought, wow, this guy can sing. And tonight it was real kind of going through the motions. Anyway, if you enjoyed it, good luck. I had a real naff time, bored senseless, and I hope never to see Marti Pellow live. I don't wish Marti Pellow any harm. I think he seems a nice enough guy, but I really hope I never have to endure him live again.